You're watching TelecomTV's exclusive video coverage of Broadband World Forum 2015 from London. And I'm joined now by Rahul Patel, who is SVP and General Manager Connectivity with Qualcomm. Rahul, thanks for joining us on TelecomTV.
Thanks for hosting me.
Now, the current connected home experience is very exciting, but it's developing fast. Where are we at the moment, and how is it evolving?
We are at a cusp of a massive explosion of connected devices coming in a home. And the connected devices, most likely 100% of them would be wirelessly connected. The devices that we are going to be experiencing video content on, the devices that we are going to use to communicate, to read newspapers, to look at clippings of the videos on YouTube, Netflix, all kinds of places that we would normally go for sourcing our content is going to be largely coming over wireless networks into the home. This is going to lead into a massive, if I may say, congestion of wireless sourcing. As a result of that, there would be networks tripping over each other. And so there's a huge need for having the right technology being developed and positioned for this use case that is going to be most likely be in all our lives very quickly, if not in the next year or so.
Now, you talk about congestion there. We do have a lot of different wireless technologies in the home already. What sort of technologies are we talking about? You know, and are we going to see any convergence of those, or is it just going to get wider?
Well, I think there's going to be multiple things. I think we need to kind of make this a solution that is going to come across to quote unquote somebody like my mom as a consumer, as all these wireless technologies working in harmony, not tripping over each other, not having the consumer to worry about how do I move from one spectrum to another spectrum. And so there's going to be a lot of technology overlaying all these spectrum plays that, as you correctly kind of pointed out, as convergence of all these technologies, right? And there is that opportunity for Qualcomm uniquely in the marketplace, because Qualcomm plays in all these technologies: Wi-Fi, cellular, LTE, which is what popularly known as, also bringing newer technology in the unlicensed band like LTE-U, and all the lower power technologies like BLE, 15.4 Zigbee, and then the newer generation of the technologies like 11AD, which is 60 gigahertz, and then the follow-on evolution of 11AD into 11AY. I'm saying all these alphabet soup basically references basically over here for the technology, but as you can see, it's fairly complex. A lot of spectrum coming into the home, wanting to make sure that you deliver the right experience, quote unquote, for my mom, so that she does not have to worry about what technology she's using or get confused by the technology alphabet soup, basically.
So basically, all these different technologies have really got to play together, and they've got to be transparent to the user. The user should be selecting home connected products based on what they do rather than necessarily how they do it.
Well, I think I'll go one step further. The user doesn't have to select what technology they're going to use. The technology is going to be contextually aware of the applications that are going to be sourced by the consumer, and ultimately it'll kind of use the right technology, right link to kind of deploy that application on. It could be, a video sourcing of about 4K type content that will require a lot more predictability, a lot more bandwidth, higher quality of service. Or it could be, reading your emails or doing texts, and that does not require a whole lot of, link budget. And so the application level decision making in terms of what technology, what connectivity gets deployed is going to be key, because you don't want my mom figuring out what technology I use here, because that's a very complex problem for her, and I think it kind of deters her away from using technology as a result. And so this is where Qualcomm will uniquely bring this confluence of technologies working in harmony and in a unique way delivering a very immersive user experience around wireless connectivity.
Now, in the home at the moment, we see a lot of unlicensed spectrum and unlicensed technologies, Wi-Fi being prevalent, and the low power technologies as well. But what about cellular? You touched on LTE earlier. Will we see cellular penetrating more into the home and integrating with Wi-Fi?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. There are certain properties of cellular, especially LTE, that uniquely address issues of congested environments, that uniquely bring in another way of bringing content in the home that otherwise, you may not get readily available from Wi-Fi. And so that's one big application of bringing cellular in the home. The other big is, how do we make Wi-Fi and LTE work together so that you have a larger aggregated link and delivering a larger experience from a performance point of view, from a reach point of view, and from the best power consumption experience, which is like the battery life experience that you would deliver to the consumer. So that is the big benefit of bringing cellular in a form that works in harmony with Wi-Fi.
So what should carriers do now to prepare for this and to take advantage of the vast opportunities of the connected home?
Well, I think traditionally the carriers have been a step or two behind in terms of adopting the newer technologies. But now, on the Wi-Fi front, but as things become a lot more complex in the home, it is going to be on the carrier's shoulders to deliver the best of the class experience in the home. And so they would have to move really fast adopting newer technologies. For example, you have your broadband upgrading to G.fast, bringing gigabit into the home. You want to make that broadband available throughout the home or wireless networks. You want to kind of take the higher order streams of Wi-Fi, the newer generation of Wi-Fi, which is Wave 2 Wi-Fi, that uses multi-user MIMO technology uniquely to address the efficiency in which the medium is kind of utilized from the access or the gateway point of view for the clients. You want to make sure these technologies are not only prevalent at the gateway side from a Wi-Fi point of view, but also in the receiver or the clients. So from a carrier point of view, not only deploying gateways with, for today's gateways with Wave 2 11AC multi-user MIMO capabilities and 4x4 streams for larger range and coverage, but also making sure your phones, your PCs, your tablets are capable of receiving multi-user MIMO signaling from the access gateways. So having the need to keep up with technology is a lot more relevant now than it has been in the past in terms of adoption. Carriers have usually taken a year or two to adopt new technology, but now with the explosion of devices in the home, some of these things are going to be, essential for delivering the experience that the consumer is going to demand of carriers.
Is it a given that the carriers will be the ones who provide the devices, the environment as such in the home? Because you look at a regular home, you've got appliances, devices from a range of different manufacturers, different sectors, whether it's power companies, entertainment companies. Are we assuming that the carrier will be able to play a central role in this?
Yeah, I think there's a big role that the carriers have to play on a going forward basis. And I think there's a lot to be monetized as well, from a subscription point of view, from layering new services in the home. For example, we have all these security cameras, right? And carriers could be managing these for you in the cloud as a consumer. You have certain services like managing the safety of your home. When I say safety of the home, the temperature control in the home, the smoke alarms, all these things, right? It could be centrally managed somewhere from the cloud, and you could be notified wherever you may be in the world if something happens in your house and needs to be kind of taken to a newer level in terms of response. So carriers have a lot to do, and then with the explosion of IoT, which is going to be a lot more devices coming into the home, there's a lot more services that you could layer in, from simple things as geofencing to managing various security sensors, various things that you would want to have managed remotely, from your appliances, your dishwashers, your washers and dryers, to your cars, to your water heaters. All these things could be remotely managed and controlled. And there's a lot of opportunity for the carriers to deploy services here.
So here at Broadband World Forum, what's Qualcomm showing to these carriers? What are you demonstrating here at the event?
Well, we are demonstrating a lot of things, but the key ones, the new, industry-leading technologies that we are bringing to Broadband World Forum are largely G.fast. We are demonstrating through our acquisition of Iconos, which we completed a couple of weeks back, and now they're part of the Qualcomm organization. We are showing G.fast. We are showing gigabit over copper, and that's quite an achievement in my opinion. And it's going to kind of ultimately kind of help use the existing copper to show and demonstrate to the consumer that you can get gigabit coming into your home. That is one big demo. We are also showing multi-user MIMO capabilities. We are also showing 60 gigahertz. We are showing multi-gigabit per second or wireless in the home that you could deploy over 60 gigahertz. To be precise, in excess of 3 gigabits per second TCP/IP. That's a lot of link budget. These are the primary demos that we are showing amongst many other things.
Great. Rahul, thank you very much for joining us on Telecom TV today.
You're welcome. Thank you, Guy.